There's a bunch of East versus West matches coming up that I kind of just want to get your predictions on. And one of those being we got RVJ making his comeback, and he's going to be pulling Zurab. And I call this match the Battle of the Biceps. I mean, both of these guys got mountains of biceps. So I know you pulled Zurab before. Have you pulled
I've never
RVJ?
pulled Zurab.
Oh, no, you haven't. Okay. I get mixed up. Okay. What do you think? Have you pulled RVJ?
The last time I pulled RVJ was years ago. And it was when he was getting ready to go pull Sasho Andreev and Neil Pickup's event. And I had RVJ as a heavy favorite in that. And I thought RVJ would be able to pronate out of Sasho and pull that off. He didn't, but it could have been, that might have also been the first time RVJ's ever left the country. And there's a lot of crap you got to deal with. Zurab is going to be a whole lot harder than Sasho. I mean, watching Zurab pull John's hand's probably way better than RVJ's is right now, just because he hasn't competed in a while. So I think Zurab is a far tougher match for RVJ than what Sasho was. But with that said, I have no idea what kind of shape RVJ is in. You know, he might be top rolling Jerry Catarat 3 and 4 times a night for all I know. I don't have a clue on what kind of shape RVJ's in. And that Sasho match was years ago. I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. So, or a year ago. I don't know.
I think it was a year and a half back.
Yeah. So
now the only thing I got to say with that context, I think that RVJ wasn't really in prime RVJ mode. You know, he was kind of in party mode and just kind of coming off the couch with that for what I got out of that. The one thing I got to say is I've been talking to RVJ a lot. He just started going over to Jerry's practices weekly. I think they'll be over there tonight. They'll be getting a workout in together. But it seems like he seems focused. He's not drinking. He's really seems like he wants to come back and really show what he can do. So, you know, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get ready for a guy like Zurab, because this guy has been, you know, nonstop pulling East versus West, high caliber opponents. And the guy that I was mixing up where I thought you pulled him, I think it was the Ron Bath match, Ron Bath versus Zurab, which that was an amazing war. Do you remember that one?
Yep. And, well, I'll hand it to him. Zurab's a tough match to try to make your comeback on. You know? I mean, that seems like a big first step, but if anybody can do it, he probably can.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next match. So do you have Zurab winning that?
I think Zurab is the favorite by quite a bit. In that match, I'd rather be Zurab than RVJ. Even seeing the trouble Chance had. Now, Chance won, and it was decisively, but Chance's hand is just absolute. I think Chance probably has a better hand than Chance has a better hand when I pulled him than what RVJ had the last time I pulled RVJ. Now, I have no idea what shape they're in now, but and even that, you know,
which that's pretty crazy to hear, bro, because, you know, RVJ's always been the grip master. You know, he's the guy that's setting a lot of records back in the day with grip and all. Wow, Chance, man, you got to have a strong hand to get that. That's pretty impressive to hear about Chance. Now, moving on to the next match that I want to talk about, and that's Ongarbayev versus Irakli.
Ongarbayev versus Irakli.
This kid Ongarbayev, he really impresses me a lot. I mean, he's such a technical arm wrestler. He stays so calm. You know, when he pulled Monster Michael Toddler, you know, that was just so impressive to me. You know, Toddler was going nuts and screaming and
and they're both basically top rollers. Well, we know Irakli can press.
Yeah. Which he did against John Brzenk, which, you know, I don't think many people were expecting that day.
Yeah. Against John Brzenk, he pulled it out his hand. I got the utmost respect for Ongarbayev. I really do. But I think if I had to I think Irakli's the favorite in that.
Okay.
But now I'll say that, and then I'll go on YouTube or something and find out that they've pulled 15 times and Ongarbayev won every single one of them. So I have no idea. You know, I don't track a lot of people who don't have an American zip code. So
Have you any experience pulling? Have you ever gripped up with these guys at all?
I pulled Irakli.
You did pull it. How did that turn out? You're funny, brother.
It turned out really well, Paul.
You know what it is, man? There's so many matches with these East versus West. You know, there's like 15
I've
to
never
20 on
pulled
each card.
Ongarbayev.
I get a little mixed up, you know, I
yeah.
get all mixed up who pulled who, you know, and I forget which one did you pull Irakli? What East versus West was that?
Maybe 3.
Okay.
Or 2.
What was the score on that?
I think I beat him 3-0.
Look at this, bro. You don't even remember what it was. You know, you pulled so many matches in these versus West.
I know I did well. And I should know because I just went through all these stupid matches recording, you know, which side of the table won, whether it was a ref grip, whether it was a strap match, but I'm pretty sure I won 3-0.
See, that makes it interesting because he just beat John. You beat Irakli. Now we got you guys pulling in August. Oh, man. What's your hold on? We'll go back to the Ongarbayev versus Irakli, but what's your prediction against John? What do you think the ending score is, and who gets the win?
I think it's probably a blowout either way. I mean, I think it's best of 5, so I think it's 3-0 or 3-1 either way. John's obviously the favorite. I can see John winning several different ways, and I can see me winning one way, maybe 1.5 ways. I got like a very narrow window I can crawl through, where John's got a huge gate he can walk through. So, you know, so depending on how it went, I think it'll be a blowout or it'll be very lopsided either way. But
are you going to change anything because you used to train with John, so he kind of knows your style and all? Are you going to change something up?
Sort of, but John's changed the way he's pulling too. So the John that I trained with, you know, never pinned anybody doing anything like that, you know. So
is there anything, is it because of his shoulder? Because I know he's been going through the shoulder issues and all that. Is that why he's changing up?
It could be any number of things. He might just be getting strong. You know, he might have developed some more elbow power that he never felt comfortable with, you know. So, I mean, if the stronger your elbows are, the less important your hand becomes.
Okay. Now let's get back, because I don't want to lose focus on the Ongarbayev versus Irakli. What do you think the final score is on that, and who gets it?
I don't think it's close. I think it's lopsided, and I think Irakli wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, next match that I want to talk about, this is a big one, is Devin Laratt versus Genadi. What do you think about that?
I think that Devin wins that fairly easily.
Wow, easily, huh? Even with the power and explosion that Genadi comes with.
Devin is something else. You know? I mean, Genadi's tough, right? I fully respect him, but I think Devin is something else. Yeah, I think Devin is I think Devin is right now at the beginning of a pretty impressive streak that lasts him for a while. Yeah. I don't think you see Devin take a major loss for a while.
I gave him a nickname last time we were on the podcast, and I was like, can we say that you went from Master Devin Laratt to now Grandmaster? And yeah, he agreed with that, because you know, we were talking about the Dave Chafee match back in 2017, and I said, what do you think today when you have your Dave Chafee match? And he said that he's gonna dominate him, and I was like, all right, well, what's the difference? Can we say that you he said that he is now 100% in arm wrestling. Then he was still working. He was just coming to the end of his career, and now he could really focus. So I was like, let's put this in terms, brother. Can we say that you went from master to grandmaster, just kind of like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu, analogy. And he agreed with that, So
Yeah.
the other thing that it's been with Devin is he's been taking this stem cell therapy, and he swears by this. He keeps talking about it. He keeps going and getting these treatments. What do you think about this stem cell therapy? Have you ever looked into it?
Now, isn't it to like repair damage or injuries or something?
Yeah, it's anything that you have a problem with. For once, he was supposed to go against Prunick, and it was 5 weeks out from the match, and he was having some extreme pains in the hand. He had arthritis, whatever. He went and got this stem cell therapy, got a shot in his hand. Literally, I think it was a week and a half later, he was 100% healed. He felt like a new person, where he said normally it would take him 4 months to heal something like that. And then
4 months is, see, arm wrestlers lie. But no, I don't have any injuries or pain, so I don't see myself pursuing stem cells because I don't have the symptoms that would
yeah,
be
because you
solved.
do a thing called JM presses.
Yeah, that's probably it. It might be training, but no, I can't first. 4 months seems like an incredibly long. I did both my bicep tears. I rehabbed in less than 6 months, and that's like winning a tournament. But no, I don't have any.
And it wasn't a bicep tear you had. You had the actual surgery. It was disconnected on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a big difference between a tear and then a surgery. So I just want to make that clear for everybody. I also had both arms surgery. The first one I did, they hit a nerve. So that's why it was a year for me to be 100% back. The second one was, like you said, it was 6 months, within I think it was 2 months, I was, back on the table and not going hard, but, starting to build up and all.
But yeah, I don't have any chronic pain or chronic issues that would warrant stem cell therapy. So
what do you contribute that to? Is it that you started later in life with arm wrestling, or is it your training style that keeps you healthy? Because I mean, a lot of these older guys that have been pulling for a long time, they all got some kind of chronic injury or pain going on.
I don't know, but it just might be that these other guys have been arm wrestling for 40 years and I've been arm wrestling for 20.
Yeah.
It just might be that I'm halfway through, I'm only halfway through the journey they're on.
It reminds me, I had a question from one of the subscribers, and they wanted to know, if you had to go back, would you like to have started arm wrestling earlier in your career?
I don't think so.
And is that because of what we're just talking about?
I wished when I started my career, I was younger, but I don't think I would want to start my career. I wished when I started arm wrestling in 2000, I was younger than I was, but I don't wish I started arm wrestling in 1990.
And why do you say that?
Because I started at the about perfect time. I arm wrestled for 2 or 3 years. Then they're making Pullin' John. Then we're in Vegas. A lot of the guys that started in the 90s didn't make any damn money until the 2000s. I started in the 2000s and we all started making money around 2004. I mean, I started at like a very, very good time. So,
how long was it until you hit that elite level?
I think I beat John in Las Vegas at year 4 or year 5.
That is amazing. Do you consider that normal?
I think I tell people all the time, it takes about 3 years to become a national level arm wrestler in the super heavyweight class, and about 5 years if you're in the 165 class, just because the competition in the lower classes is deeper. So I think 4 years to be national level. I think that's about right. I think if someone was starting arm wrestling right now, you could probably win state level tournaments in 2 to 3 years, and national and world level tournaments in 4 to 6. I think that's about right.
Now, has your training changed since 2000 till now?
Yeah, I didn't discover the West Side barbell system till about 2005 or 6. And this was before YouTube was popular. But so you could probably become a national level quicker than what I posted, because at this point, we, the West Side barbell system is a lot more popular. My training of like, there's the training method I do, you log your strength, you discover your weak spots, you fix them, and you just make sure your power keeps going up. Now you might shift from force to power to speed to endurance, but the strategy stays the same. You just monkey your tactics around depending on where you're weak. So, yeah. So like if I had a 13-year-old grandson or something to start training right now, he would do a lot better. If my sons in their 20s took it up, I mean, I think within 4 or 5 years they could be, close to my level now.
So what did your training look like between 2000 and 2004 to make you that?
It was a combination of all the bodybuilding shit everybody was doing and the accepted arm wrestling training that everybody else was doing. So you did, grip machines for thousands of reps. You did wrist curls for thousands of reps. Everything was volume based. No bands, no chains, no speed, no max effort. You climb rope. The more times you climb the rope, the stronger. That meant you were stronger. The thinking's completely wrong, because just because I can run, if I can only run a mile, and a year from now I can run 10 miles, it doesn't mean I'm stronger. It doesn't mean my squat went up. It just means I can do more work, But so it took a while, and we weren't doing a lot of like, there were like arm wrestling exercise machines, but they weren't real flexible. So there wasn't a real good way of training. A lot of them were so mechanical, they hurt. Some of them actually hurt my arms when I try on them, the ones with the big wheels and stuff. So,
but what made you change your training? Because you said from 2000 to 2004, now you're beating John Brzenk. What made you change it? I would have thought you would have just stayed on that path because it was obviously working for you. But what made you say, I got to change something? And
well, John pulled 2 weight classes and I pulled 1, and I couldn't beat John again. Well, I don't think I've ever beat John again in real life, but until we started practicing. So, I got lucky, and by beating John that first match, that put me second at a very, very big Las Vegas area tournament. Okay. But I'm way better now than I was when I beat them, back then from 2005.
But what made you just make that change? And, because, I would have thought you would have said, I figured it out,
Because I'm in this powerlifting gym, South Carolina Barbell, with Mark Bartley, who's been setting world records in powerlifting, and you can see his records going up. And he sat down, he saw me screwing around. This is before we had table-based cable machines. So I'm doing side pressure work on the seated row machine. And he saw what I was doing, and he talked to me a little bit and about what I was doing. And then he explained the West Side barbell system, where he goes, how do you know your training's working? I go, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then, he actually explained, well, I know I'm stronger because when I lifted on this day, I bench pressed 600 pounds. Now I bench press 630 pounds. I know I'm stronger. So then he explained, you do 1 rep maxes. That's your measure of strength. And then your speed day and your dynamic day and your volume day and all that other stuff support that. So now I'm clicking. So now I got numbers, and I had a really, really good arm wrestling team at the time too. The South Carolina arm wrestling team was loaded with national, the world level arm wrestlers, but a lot of them were national champs, and they were very, very serious about it. So,
now, were you always a numbers guy? Were you always a numbers guy in life? Were you one of those that you liked figuring everything out with math?
Well, I was an engineer for like 12 years before I was an arm wrestler.
So when he told you this, it just clicked to you. It just made sense right away, and you were you had something to gauge and kind of put what you do for work into arm wrestling. And
yeah, and he went into how Louis Simmons took all the Russian powerlifting books and translated them and sorted out what was working. So Louis Simmons went and benchmarked, the country that was the strongest country in the world, figured out how they got to where they were, was constantly exploring and innovating new things. And, he approached it like what we had to do as engineers, and we got to come up with new products, because every time the government changes the rules on cars, or they want the car to be faster or lighter, you got to go invent something that nobody's ever done. So there's a process that engineers and scientists go through. Well, Louis Simmons, without being an engineer, used that basic process. He benchmarked, he experimented, he tried, he took data, he analyzed it. And I go, yeah, this makes perfect sense to me.